This week I'm gonna build something to prove a point. I mean, not just for that, but also for that. I'm gonna build a shower cabin tray from scratch. And that is to prove that sometimes we put way too much money, too much effort and time into a project, sometimes even more than we should technically, but that not necessarily means that was the wrong decision. I mean, we will still believe that 20 days from now.
Hi, I'm Roberta.
And I'm Duca.
And after bringing a sailboat that was neglected for over 22 years back to life, we moved aboard and for the next 2 years we explored the Brazilian coast and part of the Caribbean, where we got an offer that changed our lives once again. We sold our boat and we moved to France, where we are building our new 43-foot aluminum exploration sailboat.
And while the boatyard is building the hull of our new sailboat, we are learning the craft by converting a camper van to get ready to build the interior and all the systems of the boat ourselves.
So don't forget to subscribe and to join us every Sunday for a new episode.
So the idea for this week is to build a shower cabin tray for our van at this spot. If you're following our journey of converting our van into our camper, you might know that here we had a wall.
And it's not there anymore. Yeah, the reason why we took the wall off is because we need to build the tray. And in order to build the tray, the beginning of the shower tray is going to be behind the wall. And it's impossible for us to do that with the wall in place. So we knew that and we built the wall in a way that we could disassemble. And then when we finish this project, we can assemble finally in a final position and with screws and glue and everything else. But now I'm just trying to figure out how deep will the tray go behind the wall so we can have support from behind. Yeah, I think it's gonna make sense.
Are you ready, dear? Oh, we must be sure, 'cause we've no idea when we're coming home. Any place we wander to.
So now that we have the main pieces of this puzzle, I think it's time for a dry fit. Otherwise, if we glue everything with epoxy resin and it's not the right position, that would be terrible. So we need to make sure that each one of these pieces is in the right spot, and sometimes it's hard to know without putting in place. Now, so I don't know if you saw this other one that I did, crazy shape. The reason for that is because, as you can tell, on the floor of the van, you have a lot of weird shapes. And I wanted something that actually is flat on the bottom, and in this way we can support everything everywhere, and we can apply Sikaflex and glue this in place when it's ready. But now I need to try in place because I didn't try yet. That's all theoretical for now. I just
Fingers crossed.
seems that fits. Now let's put everything around to see if it also fits. That looks awesome already.
What is this?
It's the mark for the drain, and now we just get the square and we get the center, and we install this drain on the center. And I'm also gonna screw everything together, and then I'm gonna unscrew. And the reason for that is because when you apply epoxy resin or glue and you clamp, it might slide. And if I have the holes for the screws already, I'll guarantee that I have the same alignment. So now I'm gonna just put this together and see what happens. At this point, we have most of the components done. For now, I want to guarantee that this wood's not gonna move anymore. And for that, we're gonna glue all these parts with thickened epoxy. So today, we're gonna use for the first time epoxy resin from Sika. First, we're gonna apply some liquid epoxy without thickener, just to get the wood wet. And then after that, we're gonna give a coat with microsphere and aerosol to give some strength and also to fill up any gap in between the wood. this radiator is connected to a breaker. If something happens, it's gonna shut off the breaker, so we can leave it on. I'm just gonna heat up a little bit the workshop before I turn it off for the night. I think it's enough because the walls are really well insulated, so I just want to raise the temperature a little bit up, and then I will shut everything off and leave until tomorrow. Yep, I'm just doing art today. No, actually this is really important. As we have a van, sometimes you're gonna park in a place that's not really flat, and maybe we're, I don't know, parked in the wrong position and the water is not gonna come to the drain. So I decided to have a really big angle on the slope of the bottom of the tray. And for that I have these trims that I can glue with epoxy resin in place, and then I can fill this with filler, and in this way it's really light, it's not going to be really heavy, it's going to use less resin, and also it's going to be easier to sand and to create a shape that hopefully looks somehow okay. That's the first step. So I fill up like a little bit more than halfway of what I need. I'm gonna let it dry. Tomorrow I'm gonna sand everything, and I'm gonna do a little bit more on the ends because it's really hard to create the right angle because it won't hold. When it dries, it's gonna just keep falling, and it's gonna end up too much here and too little there. So I rather doing 2 turns. See you more. I think I'm done for today's sanding. I'm happy with the result, to be honest. Are you ready for this? This layer of epoxy was a really heavy one. As you can tell, there's a lot of, I don't know, high spots, a lot of high spots. And the reason for that is because I needed to fill up a little bit. I know I will have a lot of sanding, but at least now, once I sand this, I hope not to have that many gaps to fill. That's my hope. Now, less talking, more sanding. Ooh, I'm far from done. As you can see, there is a lot of still pinholes. The reason for that, I believe, is because I did a really thick layer of epoxy. And before you think that this is not dry, it is 100% dry. It was thick, but I let for like maybe 5-6 days curing, so it's 100% dry. But the heat of the epoxy when it's curing just creates bubbles. So the reason why I'm not too worried about that is because until this point, my goal was just to create a thick layer of epoxy resin with a slope. This is still not 100% flat the way I want, like the slope is not smooth the way I want. So the next step now is to fill up all these pinholes and also to try to level with a thin layer now, not too thick, just to fill up the gaps. And then I need to sand up if there is any high spot. Still, I'm not gonna sand this up, but we're making progress. You can see deep there, deep here, deep here. We need to fix that. I don't know if you can properly see the difference from now and before, but it's really, really different. So the tricky thing about what I'm doing now is that that's not a flat surface actually. That's like a curve slope surface, and I want to be as smooth as possible, the curve. And that's really tricky because there is no guide for that. This is like a round curve. So the next step now is to mark these low spots with a little bit of a margin so I can just apply epoxy resin on the marks and then tomorrow I have less things to sand and hopefully I'm closer to finish. 4 hours later, I mean for you it was really quick. It might look the same in camera, but there is a huge difference. Yesterday when I sand, it was all like bumpy. So the only big low spot that I have right now is this one. You can see here a mark. This is really low, so I need to fill up a little bit more and sand again. And also I have a few things like this. These ones are much easier to fix because it's a small spot with a deep penetration, so that means you just go with the spatula over. One more thing I want to do today is to apply some liquid epoxy here on the edge because I need to seal this wood. Right now the wood is exposed, and as this is going to be a shower cabin, it's important to seal the wood. And once I finish the fairing of the bottom, I don't want to risk applying epoxy on the top, otherwise it might leak to the bottom and then I'm in trouble because it's much harder to sand liquid epoxy than the fairing compound that I just created. That's the result of the last layer of fairing. I can already tell that tomorrow is going to be a lot less sanding. A few hours later, my boss is here. She came to check on my work. How am I doing? Please say good.
It's good.
I think it's good enough for me to do now the edges, the round edges, because this is going to be the tricky part. I think for today is good. There's a few mistakes that I can fix on the second layer of the edges, but for the first one, I'm really excited. I think the result's really good. Check this out.
What are you doing today?
Sanding, of course. That's what I do every day. This one is really good, actually. I need to fix a few little mistakes on the edges. I've been using 80 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna do 40 for these heavier spots today, just to be a little bit quicker.
What do you have there?
I'll show you when I see.
Yeah.
It's a gift from someone because that's the first one actually. That's all his first, literally. We don't have any diaper yet. And this.
Aww.
Thank you so much.
It's for the baby too.
I guess he's ready to work now.
This is so nice.
Tomorrow's never promised, but now is the time for hopes arising. Tomorrow's never promised, but now is the time for change that starts today. Whoa.
For this next step, I need to call my assistant.
Finally!
It's finally time to apply primer. I lost count of how many days.
15.
15 days.
16 today.
Fairing like maybe 10 days. But now, I hope this is fair enough We're gonna apply epoxy primer to make sure we seal 100% all the surface. We'll talk about after that, one step at a time, baby steps.
So now what we need to do is to wet the floor, put some plastic around to avoid paint to go everywhere, and to take out the dust from the tray.
By the way, this is just to avoid the dust coming up. If you wet the floor, the dust is gonna settle down on the wet, so it's not gonna fly, because there is a lot of, you know, I've been cutting a lot of wood around here, so there's always dust. That's after 2 coats. I'm doing 1 coat, waiting a little bit to dry, another coat. Today is gonna be 3 coats, and then let's see tomorrow how it looks. That's nice. It looks so awesome. I mean, it's not perfect yet, but it's so much better than I believe it would be right now. So what I'm gonna do today is to sand with 120 grit, 180 grit, and then I'm gonna apply some combi filler to close some little pinholes. Combi filler is made for that, so this is a kind of filler that they use in cars. Whenever you paint a car and you have a tiny little hole, this is not to fill up big gaps, just tiny little gaps. And the good thing about this filler is that it dries pretty much instantly, so you can, I don't know, 10 minutes you can already sand, so I can fill up a little bit, sand. If it's not good, I can fill up a little bit more, and I can fix as much as I can. Let's get to work. Now I'm scared because it looks almost perfect, but there is these tiny little pinholes that I need to close, but once I apply filler to that, I can damage the rest when I need to sand the combi filler. So I used this before, but it was, I think, like 5 or 6 years ago on the shipping container. And I remember it was easy, but at the same time not that easy, because you need to apply really tiny amounts. So now I'm like, it looks so good. I literally don't want to ruin the job, but we need to do what we need to do, right? Quick pause on the sanding because there's something really cute going on. Check this out. Welcome, Gloria and Roberta. That's the new goats that are named after Roberta and Gloria.
Which one is Roberta?
I don't know. Maybe the brown one with the brown. I think she's Roberta and she's Gloria.
Riddle out every shadow you see. Ring a bell, shake the crop, give them hell, whatever the cost. Something's wrong with every revelry. Say a word against the indecency. It's so loud, it's so.
Are you ready?
Every round, every carousel stop. Shake a bell, shake a ball.
Let's hope I got the hole in the right position. From here it looks perfect. I just want to see from the bottom if it's kind of in the center. Sounds good to me. I think it's pretty good.
Good.
Perfect. I've seen how thick is the floor of the van. A lot thicker than I thought.
And now we wait.
Yeah, the good thing about this cold sink is that it dries really quick. So you're gonna be able to do it today, really soon.
That's great.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And today it's a great weather. It's really hot, and the humidity is like 50%, so it's great.
Perfect. I mean, not for
Not for Sika.
Not for Sika. Now, time for the truth. By the way, don't forget to subscribe. Can you see there? Subscribe. If you could subscribe to us, it would be really good. The best way to put a shower tray down is to step in the shower. I think it's pretty good actually. Good squeeze. Now I'm just gonna go outside and I'm gonna apply some Sika around the drainage just to make sure the water, if leaks, it's not gonna leak, but if leaks, it doesn't go inside, in between the floor and the shower tray. Proud. Let's see the result.
I'm actually really proud of you.
Me too. I mean, it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect when you do like handmade, but there is character. I know which little mistake I will always remember. That's so cool.
It's organic.
Yeah, it's organic. Yeah, that's the word. It's organic. And just a few considerations that I didn't say yet. The sides are not perfect because this is never gonna be seen once the shower cabin is ready, and also the inside part, this inside edge, is also not gonna be seen, and that's why I didn't care much about the fairing. The drain, you see there is a gap here, and that's because I'm gonna fill up this with Sikaflex. That was the idea since the beginning, because I didn't really know how deep it should be, and I'm like, just as a guarantee, I'll leave a little gap and then I'll fill up and do a big finishing of Sikaflex, and I think it's gonna be fine. And other than that, that's the reason why we didn't finish the wall yet, the bulkhead, is because the bulkhead is gonna be actually in front of the shower cabin, of the shower tray. So now it's perfect waiting for the wall to come to place, and that's our next big project. But before I do that, you deserve to know the conclusion. Duca, would you still do the same thing now that you work really hard for 20 days? And the answer for that is yes, I would do it. I'm not really sure if everyone should do that. I don't think this is the right project for everyone else. For me, 100% worth, and I'll explain why. Let's do pros and cons list, because that's the way I work. Anytime I have a doubt, I just put the pros and the cons. Con number one, of course, the price. This costs twice of the price, around twice the price of buying a ready one. And buying a ready one takes us 2.5 hours to go to the store and to come back. This took us 20 days, not full 20 days, but a lot of work during 20 days. And that means it took us 20 times, maybe more, yeah, a lot longer than it should if we just buy on the shop. And that's it. For cons, that's the only two I can think of, is the price and the time. Now let's talk about the pros. What is good about building your own shower cabin tray? Not just the shower cabin tray, building yourself any kind of project, like creating something different instead of buying ready. First one is the custom size. There is no way we could buy a shower cabin tray the way we build. There is no way we can find one that is this high, that has this width. The only way to have that is by making your own. And in my humble opinion, for this specific project, this is a lot more guaranteed that won't leak water underneath the floor. That's what I'm always afraid. This one, the way we design, is just built not to leak, and that's really, really good. And by the way, I say we build because Roberta, even though I did a lot of the hard sanding, she being part of the decision and of the design and everything from day zero. So she's part of the project and she's behind the camera right now.
As I'm pregnant, I can't be on the smell of everything and the dust of epoxy, so that's the reason why I'm not participating on that.
Another thing that's really important is that when you buy a shower tray for a house, the slope is not too big. We wanted a really big slope to guarantee that the water will go to the drain, and we want the drain in a specific place where I know that under the vent there is nothing that I'm gonna break, or I'm not gonna, I don't know, have a big hole where I'm not supposed to. So that's another really big reason to have a custom-made one. So pro number 2, yeah, it's just unbelievable the amount of things you can learn when you decide to do something with your own hands. If you just go to the store and buy something ready, you pretty much don't learn anything. It's just, you don't even know how they made that. Me, I know exactly everything that went into building this shower tray, and that means I can build many other things with the same technique in the future, not just for our future boat, including our future boat, but for life. You just can do a lot of other things whenever you decide. You have, you know, your library of knowledge, and building your library of knowledge is priceless. Even though it costs twice the price, how much does your knowledge cost? There's no price of that.
Like paying to do a course.
Yeah, it's a free paid course, pretty much. Yeah, so then number 3. Free paid? Yeah, free. It's free, but you pay to do it. You got the point.
Pro number 3 is pride.
Yeah, that's something that if you have ever built something with your own hands for 20 days, put a lot of love on it, and in the end you really like the result, you know what I'm talking about. You're just proud of yourself, and when you're proud of yourself, you're just a better version of yourself. At least that's the way I work. If I'm not proud of what I'm doing, it's just, I don't know, life is boring, and life is all about the journey, not about the destination. Remember that. I mean, not for everyone. For us, that's how we try. We mentalize, not the destination, the journey, because otherwise, life just flies by and you don't even think about what you did. And for us, 7 years ago when we started this YouTube channel, we decided from now on we're gonna live the journey, not the destination. And that's what we've been doing ever since. And
So,
I don't regret at all taking 20 days to build something that I'm proud and that I'm gonna see for maybe years. Every time I take a shower there, I'm gonna be like, I built that. That's
true.
What do you say, Ollie? Are you proud of your dad? Yeah, Dad, I'm really proud of you, of course. Should I start an Instagram account with Ollie's voice? Just comment if you think I should. I think I should.
Let's go.
See you next week.
Now, my conclusions.
What's your conclusion?
I'm really proud of you.
Ah,
That's my conclusion.